Welcome back in, guys. This is the JE Live Show, and I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and we're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on. Sebastian Joseph-Day potentially out for the year. We don't know how long it'll be, but it does not look very good. So he's going on IR. Guy that I love, guy that a lot of you guys love. Greg Gaines is going to get a huge opportunity. He's going to have to make the most of it, taking over big Greg Gaines in the middle. But there's also something else I want to talk about, and that is Odell Bekham Jr. Yes, we are talking about Odell Bekham Jr. yet again in connection with the Rams. He was released by the Browns, and he can't be claimed until 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday. However, I find it very interesting, the idea of the Rams going out and getting Odell Bekham Jr. So that is kind of the cold open of the show. That's what we're talking about, as well as other things. I'll try and keep up with your comments, which are all out of control right now, which I love, by the way. Got a ton of comments here, so really do appreciate the interaction. And yeah, it doesn't look the greatest, right? I mean, there are some injuries, but I want to start off by saying, if you haven't been watching the NFL long, the Super Bowl is not won by necessarily the best team of the year. The Super Bowl is won by the team. It's the survival of the fittest. It's the team that went through, faced adversity, and ended up winning when it mattered the most, even though they were faced, with all sorts of injuries and what have you. I mean, think about this. Tampa played in a wild card game last year, was not first seed, second seed, third seed, or fourth seed. They were the fifth seed, and they almost lost to a backup quarterback, now the starter, in Washington. They almost lost to him. They almost lost to the Washington football team. But they turned around and they went to the Super Bowl and won. Tampa lost the first game of the year. They didn't start off well. It's not about how you start off. It's not about even how well you look in the regular season. It's all about what you do in the postseason if you get there. You have to make sure you get there first. So let me just start off by saying, yes, the injuries suck. Okay, I'm not going to lie. It sucks to see Cam Akers out until the playoffs. It sucks to see Sebastian Joseph-Day gone until potentially the playoffs. It sucks to see Justin Hollins, who's making, incredible strides early on in the season, becoming a true starting outside linebacker, and then he gets hurt and sidelined until likely the playoffs. But the fact of the matter is the Rams have to continue to bounce back and push forward, and that's what they've done. That is what they continue to do. And I think that's a big thing here. Darrell Henderson missed a game. Sony Michel came in, and ran pretty well, at the end of the day. I mean, they lost that game, of course. He got hurt in the Indy game. He came in and kind of closed the door on that and came back and, was able to hold on to a win. It's all about that. It's about next man up. You see Ben Scarana catching 3 passes for 30 yards last week. You see Dante Dion stepping up. You see Robert Rochelle, the rookie, huge opportunity, yes, but also necessary. He steps up. So, the pec injury, yes, absolutely, Julio. It is an absolute killer. Would have rather had them not rush back Sebastian Joseph-Day, but hindsight is 2020. It's about what's moving forward. So we're going to start off with that. What happens next with Sebastian Joseph-Day being out for the foreseeable future? Well, first off, you're going to see Greg Gaines, number 91, starting yet again, and he had a great game last week. His best game of his career, in my opinion, was all over the backfield, really making, some plays there. And in addition to that, you're going to be potentially seeing Bobby Brown III, the rookie, get an opportunity at Texas A&M in the 4th round. I think he's going to get an opportunity as well as guys like Michael Hoyt. And, I do think A'Shawn Robinson will have to step up as well. So here's the thing, okay? It is not the end of the world. It does suck. I'm not going to lie to you. Sebastian Joseph-Day was leading in the entire NFL, or at least tied for the lead in the entire NFL, with run, as far as in the run defense department, he was leading in win rate. So he had the best win rate of any interior defensive lineman against the run. And that's a loss. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's not. It's a significant loss. But the Rams are going to be able to make do. That's what they've been doing. We get to finally see, Von Miller. It looks like he's going to play. Jalen Ramsey, Matthew Stafford, Woods, they're all banged up a little bit. They're all going to play. So it's not like they're losing any of those guys. This is a big game against Tennessee, who is first in the AFC right now. I think the Rams are being favored a little bit too much, considering the fact the Titans are 6-2. I know they don't have Derrick Henry, but let's not forget that they are 6-2 and they lead the AFC right now. So it's a big time game, prime time Sunday Night Football. But as long as the Rams have, the majority of their starters going, I mean, they have enough weapons to win this game. And this is not a Rams-Titans preview. I will have that video coming out either later tonight or tomorrow. But this is just letting you know that, look, at the end of the day, I feel pretty good, about the Rams moving forward. Even though, Sebastian Joseph-Day got hurt, I do feel good about them. And now we're going to move on to the next part of this video, or the next part of this live stream, where I'm going to give my thoughts on Odell Bekham Jr. And then I'm going to, hit up the comments. So here's the thing. Odell Bekham Jr. was released by the Browns. In case you missed the earlier segment. He can't be claimed until 4 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. So why am I talking about a receiver after the Rams already went through this with Deshaun Jackson? Well, let me first remind you guys that Deshaun Jackson was a one-trick pony. Deshaun Jackson was a field stretcher. That's what he did. When you look, when they got him in space, he didn't opt to go for it when you're talking about a bubble screen and those type of situations. I went back and I watched. Deshaun Jackson, there were plays that were there for him where he took the out-of-bounds route, the career-saving route, instead of getting the extra yards. There were guys blocking downfield that were risking their careers, if you will, and he bounced out. The easy play. I don't want to make this all about hating on Deshaun, but this is exactly what Odell Beckham Jr. does not do. Odell Beckham Jr., at the end of the day, is an all-around receiver. We can't let the recency bias of Odell Beckham Jr. taint what he's actually done in the NFL. He's had 2 freak injuries. He had the ankle injury, he had the torn ACL. However, he's also played with 2 quarterbacks, one that'll be probably a Hall of Famer in Eli Manning, who was never the best in the league, but good quarterback, 2-time Super Bowl champion. And the other was Baker Mayfield, who we've kind of learned is really not all that great. At the end of the day, he's just a guy. And, it was interesting because Seth Galina of PFF, threw a video together and put it on Twitter. I actually had quote tweeted it, so you can find that on my Twitter. But essentially what it looks like is OBJ was running these routes. And if it was... See, the thing is, Baker was afraid to go to him in certain concepts because of where he was on the field. So when you're looking at it's a close call, it's a bang play. Stafford throws in there, beautiful pass, we're talking about it, whatever. Baker didn't want those close shaves. Baker wanted to throw to a guy that was wide open. So, didn't want to make that. So I don't like the idea that it was like he hated Odell Beckham Jr. and wanted him to suffer. No, I don't think that was it. But Odell played a role in which, in these concepts, Baker did not feel comfortable throwing to. So this idea that Odell Beckham Jr. just sucks and that he's a cancer and that's why he doesn't have stats, it's honestly ridiculous to me. It's not logical. And when you really look at the film, Odell Beckham Jr. can still play at a high level. Okay? Plus, they're playing in a predominantly run-heavy offense. So maybe not right now, because Kareem Hunt is out. But, we're seeing good things out of Dearness Johnson. And Nick Chubb's still healthy, last time I checked. So, here's the thing. Odell Beckham Jr. was playing in a run-heavy offense. He was playing with a quarterback that is limited. And he was playing, at the end of the day, with 2 injuries that he suffered with the Browns. You go back to the Giants, okay, he's got this stigma about him. Let's go back. What happened with the Giants? Well, all he did was actually end up being a really talented player. He ended up working out for them, the 12th overall pick in that draft right before Aaron Donald. I criticized it. I thought letting Linval Joseph go and not picking up Aaron Donald was dumb, but I'm not complaining because the Rams ended up with Aaron Donald. At the end of the day, Odell Beckham Jr. seemed like a reach. However, he was not. We found out early on this guy was superstar written all over him. He dealt with injuries, yes. Okay, and people were always calling him a diva and what have you. But at the end of the day, Odell Beckham Jr. made things happen. He produced. So what happened on the front of the Maras? And what happened with the Giants? And why did they let him go? Why did they trade him away? Well, I think it's pretty easy to see what happened. I think he was paid the money that he wanted. I think the Giants had buyer's remorse. And I think at the end of the day, they wanted to get rid of him. I think they realized, wow, we just cannot pay him that much with, the way the NFL is. You just can't pay a receiver that much because it holds back. Like, you're already paying Eli Manning all that money. So I think at the end of the day, that's really what happened. And then he goes to the Browns and he's with Baker Mayfield. Guys, did you notice something? When Case Keenum was playing, there was actually this level of, one, Case Keenum's not afraid to make any throw. You can hate on Case Keenum all you want, okay? Case Keenum is not afraid of anything. That dude is tough as nails. That dude will take hit after hit. That dude will make any throw. He may not connect on the throw, but he's at least going to attempt any throw, okay? And this is somebody that went to the NFC title game. Baker Mayfield hasn't gotten past that. He hasn't gotten that far. Okay, let's not forget that. Just because Baker Mayfield finally won a playoff game does not mean that all of a sudden, he gets put up on a pedestal. Plus, last time I checked, he hasn't really been playing all that well since his rookie year. And all of a sudden, it's all Odell Beckham Jr.'s fault. And I've kind of sat here and just listened to it. And I'm like, okay, he's not on my team, whatever. I don't cover the Browns for a living, yada, yada, yada. But then I just kind of got sick of it. Because now that he's released, it's all out in the wash. He was the cancer all along. And I'm sure there's a tell-all article, which I have not read yet, by the way, full disclosure. And I could just tell you this. When I watched Case Keenum throwing him the football, I saw consistency. I saw they were on the same page, and I saw somebody that wasn't afraid to make any throw, whereas I see Baker is constantly avoiding making those tough throws. And you have him running these comebacks. Seth Galina of PFF even points out that he changed the way he was running his comeback routes to make it easier for Baker to throw to him, because he was open in both ways. If he runs it the same way he did with the Giants with, more steps, then he was still wide open. Eli's going to hit him. But if you look with the Browns, he actually took a step away from the way he was running his comeback routes. And so in the way of trying to make it easier for Baker to throw, he still was not throwing him the football. However, Case Keenum comes right in and hits that comeback route with ease. So then all of a sudden we hear OBJ is such a diva. OBJ wants out. OBJ this, OBJ that. So then his dad comes out with a video accusing Baker of purposely not throwing to him. Again, I don't think it's anything where Baker doesn't like OBJ. I don't think it had anything to do with Baker, just wanting to make OBJ look bad or anything like that. I actually think quite the opposite. I think it really comes down to the fact that at the end of the day, he was not comfortable making that throw in those concepts where they asked OBJ to be that guy, whether it was running, a comeback, or whether it was running, it's a timing throw. You got to hit it over the middle. Stafford's going to take it. Brady's going to take it. Baker's not. So I don't think it was, let me just make that very clear. I don't think it was Baker being like, I don't want OBJ to succeed. I think at the end of the day, that is what we're talking about, is that he was too limited in a sense and was too afraid to make those throws that Case Keenum had no issue making when he came in as the backup and led the Browns. And another thing I'll say here is, with OBJ, there's a lot of talk with, Rams fans. And I've kind of gotten this thing, started a little bit on Twitter, because I think the Rams should 100% entertain the idea of picking up OBJ if they can. Now he's going to cost about $7 million against the cap. So my thought process and my prediction here, and again, I could be wrong, but I think OBJ is going to end up with the Los Angeles Rams. Okay. I think OBJ, who is just cut, has to go through waivers because of the new rules or whatever. He has to go through waivers. Waivers happens on Monday. I think he's going to be claimed by a team like the Lions or the Jaguars. I think he's going to refuse to play for them because he's going to force his way to the Rams. I already saw the photo before you guys ask. Yes, I saw the photo of Von Miller on Instagram trying to make the idea that, they would, recruit him, right? Happy birthday, OBJ. Would love to see you play for the Rams, or come to the Rams, love you, all that deal, right? So I really think that this could end up happening. And what's interesting, and I'm going to bring it up so I don't butcher exactly what happened, but I did notice Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic say something pretty interesting here, tweet something pretty interesting that you just don't see very often. So I'm going to point it out, and my mentions are kind of blowing up because I did that post about OBJ. But let's see if I can find it here. Okay, so let's see. We have there because there's this one that I thought was really intriguing. Let me see if I can find it. So Jordan tweeted out, Kroenke out at Rams practice today, currently in conversation with Les Snead and Tony Pastors. Don't see that every day. Well, why would they be out in conversation like that? Okay. If she doesn't see that every day, she's at practice every day, she points it out. Why is that the case? All of a sudden, a player of Odell Beckham Jr.'s caliber gets released, and there's a chance that they could maybe acquire him via waivers, and all of a sudden they're talking. Do you think that's a coincidence? Because I don't. Look, this team, it's not crazy to think that they would go all out for Odell Beckham Jr. to be their fourth or third receiver. Okay, first off, it would be a one-year deal. I don't think it would be a long-term thing. I really don't. I think it would be a one-year deal. I think if anything, you look at Odell, why would Odell want to play for the 0-8 Lions? Just explain that to me. Why? What is the appeal? He's already been paid. It's not like the Lions are going to hold on to that long-term deal. No. So at the end of the day, I think a team like that may try to claim him, and either his agent might step in and say, we're not going to play, like my client's not going to play for you, or he'll force his way out. So what I'll say here is that I think at the end of the day, Odell Beckham Jr. gets claimed by the Lions or a team like that, probably leaning towards the Lions because they're first in the waiver order, whatever. He gets claimed by the Lions, and then, actually, I don't know how that works. He might be, I think they're first in the waiver order. But anyway, and then he forces his way out so he can then sign with the Rams. Because that's what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to force his way to the Rams. And the reason I think that is because, one, Von Miller has already, recruited him based on that play, that post. But two, this is a team that was already interested in him. Last time I checked, McVay was there, Snead was there, Pastors was there, Demoff was there, Kroenke was there. All the big wigs up top, they were all there when they were, pursuing a trade for Odell Beckham Jr., okay? And that trade could have happened, very, very likely could have happened. They were able to get Cooks for less. They chose to get Cooks. But if you remember, all the buzz, Odell, Rams players saying that Odell wants to be in LA, Odell saying he loves LA. Remember those reports? I haven't forgotten them. So here's the thing, okay? I think Odell's going to force his way to the Rams. I think Odell is going to be more of a team player than we've ever seen before because, honestly, I think he's a misunderstood former superstar. I think he's kind of lost his way in a sense. He doesn't get the opportunity, he doesn't get the targets, and so he doesn't have the stats. And so he's trying to, reclaim that status. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the fourth receiver, wins the Super Bowl at the Rams, and then either re-ups with the Rams and the Rams trade somebody like, Woods, or hear me out, he resets his market, winning a Super Bowl, being on a Super Bowl team, having the contributions, showing that he is a true team player, and having a team pick him up in the offseason. Would not be surprised. But at the end of the day, I think this is somebody that has been misunderstood. I think he's been in weird situations. I mean, he got paid and then they immediately traded him afterwards. Think about that. Or think about the fact that with the Browns. Why are we giving the Browns the benefit of the doubt? That organization has been horrible. I mean, I just don't get it. And then you're going to yell you're going to yell at him about the Giants? The Giants were going downhill. They have not won a playoff game since that picture with them on the boat. Think about that. So, I don't know. I think, again, I'll say it over and over again. I think he's misunderstood. I think he's held kind of unfairly, but I think he has this opportunity to rewrite his career, rewrite his story, and I think he can do that with the Rams. I think he wants to do that with the Rams. I think he's looking at Von Miller and Aaron Donald and playing with Kupp and Woods, and is like, okay, yeah, I can do this. But here's the thing, okay? When people try to compare this to Deshaun Jackson is not the player of Odell Beckham Jr. Deshaun Jackson is not an unbelievable route runner like Odell Beckham Jr. Deshaun Jackson doesn't have the hands like Odell Beckham Jr. Deshaun Jackson isn't one of the most explosive players I've ever seen when he has the ball in his hands, with open field, as far as, you have guys in front of you making guys miss yards after the catch. Deshaun Jackson's the guy that runs straight down the field, catches the ball, the deep ball, and blows by everybody. And if he doesn't put in the same amount of, work, so to speak, as an OBJ when he gets the ball in a bubble screen and he's going to try to make a man miss and generate more yardage. That's the difference, okay? So, OBJ reworked his deal before being cut to 1 year. What do you mean, new report, Ashton? I'm confused by that. Is that like brand new? So apparently, like Schefter's saying, while teams always have a way to create cap space, as of this morning, 9 NFL teams had over $7.25 million in cap space, the amount now needed to claim Odell Beckham Jr. next week. Jaguars, Eagles, Broncos, Seahawks, Panthers, Chargers, Steelers, Washington, Bengals. See, again, I don't think Odell, like, people are talking about Odell caring about the snaps or all that. They're talking about, oh, well, he's not going to like the targets and all. Here's the thing. Everyone's acting as if Deshaun Jackson left because he wasn't getting targets entirely because of Van Jefferson. Guys, the Rams told us what they thought about Deshaun Jackson when Ben Skoranek came in and caught 3 passes for 30 yards. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's at some point or another, it's not as simple as just, oh, let's just connect the dots. Oh, Deshaun Jackson didn't want to play because he wasn't getting. Sometimes, there's things there. Maybe Deshaun Jackson, just at the end of the day, they realized wasn't a fit, didn't embody the we not me culture, didn't want to block, and that's why. It's entirely a reasonable thing. And you look at the Browns, and the Browns are looking like, we have Jarvis. We drafted Anthony Schwartz in the 3rd round. Drafted the kid out of UCLA. Drafted Donovan Peoples-Jones in the 6th round out of Michigan. Rashard Higgins they brought back. They have 3 tight ends that could all start. I mean, maybe they just thought, let's just kind of simplify this. Odell, you clearly don't want to be here. You're not getting along with Baker. And we'd like to move on and try and get these guys an opportunity. Which begs the question, why didn't they trade Odell? That I can't answer. But I do think that the Rams could end up with Odell Beckham Jr. And I honestly think they're going to. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, like I said. But I honestly do think I'm going to say straight up that I do think he ends up with the Rams. And I got to say over and over again, can't stress it enough. And I know some of you agree with me. I'm tired of Odell Beckham Jr. being, demonized. This guy is constantly demonized. Constantly. However, I remember if he went to the Patriots, remember when Tom Brady was with the Patriots and everyone wanted Odell to go there? If he went there, all of the demonizing, all of the hate and everything would have just disappeared. Because you would have been, oh, well, Tom Brady has that, that seal of approval. Got to give Tom Brady what he wants. I'm just tired of it. Well, like, why are we holding him to that standard, I just don't think at the end of the day, we'll look back at Odell Beckham Jr., in his contract. Maybe we'll look back and say, man, he could have been a Hall of Famer if he got his act together. But maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to bring up his statistical output right now. We'll go over it. And I'm not going to lie, the one thing that really would help, I mean, big time, they come out Odell Beckham Jr. goes to the Rams. He takes on the wide receiver 4 role, doesn't say a damn word, and they win a Super Bowl. That would fix a lot, would it not? All right, so another thing is, by the way, his dad came out, and I was saying this the other day, and I don't know why I didn't do a video on it. Maybe because I didn't want to offend anyone. But his dad came out, and the idea, and this is the thing I found so funny, is that his dad came out and posted something on Instagram about Odell, right? Not getting the ball. Baker not throwing to him. Odell didn't post that. Why does everyone act like Odell posted that? You know? I just don't get that. I understand the 24-hour news cycle. I understand there's been a lot with Ruggs and Rodgers and all that. But can we at least give Odell the benefit of the doubt? He's the only one that didn't do anything. Like, he didn't talk. He didn't go on Pat McAfee's show. He didn't go to jail. Okay, he wasn't drunk driving. Why is he always demonized? Like, when does that guy ever say a word? Like, people don't like him because they remember what he was when he was younger. When he did the peeing dog celebration, when he married the goal, whatever, the kicking goal or whatever, they remember things like that. When he went up against the Rams and Alec Ogletree tackled him out of bounds and he spiked the ball in his face and took off his helmet and, acted out. He's an emotional player. But has he said anything about this? No. He is not. There's not one quote out there about Odell in this situation. Not one. And this is what I'm talking about. This is how, this idea where these, receivers become villains. I mean, yeah, sure. Most receivers are divas. Fine. Whatever. But, that's not what I'm arguing. What I'm arguing is, why is Odell considered this, he's demonized? Why is he considered the villain? Why? Players oftentimes are considered villains. I don't get that. If you watch hockey, Brad Marchand is a villain, okay? You look at Tom Wilson in hockey, Tom Wilson's a villain. Do you know why? Because he tries to kill the player on your favorite team every time he goes up against him. It's not just a normal hit. He tries to kill him. That's a villain. In football, though, how can you be a villain as a receiver? It just seems to me like it's a bunch of Kobe nonsense from the days with the Lakers and Shaq. It seems like a bunch of Russell Westbrook nonsense, the days with the Thunder. You hear one side of the story, but you never hear his. You always hear the others, or you always hear the higher up, or you always hear the quarterback, but you never hear Odell Beckham Jr.'s story. What if we heard his side of the story? I bet you anything it would be interesting to hear what happened with the Giants. I mean, that's the thing. The idea that he's villainized and all that is just ridiculous. But anyway, let's look at his stats, okay? So he's been a little off the last 2 years, and here's why. First off, he played 7 games in Cleveland. He was only targeted 43 times last year. He was targeted 34 times through 6 games. Okay? So if you really look at this, I mean, he's just not really getting the ball much at all. He had 133 targets. So the 1 year he played all 16 games, had 133 targets. He had 74 receptions, 1,035 yards, 4 touchdowns. Okay, what about the next year? Oh, that's right. He played in only 12 games for the Giants. His last season, he had 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Of course, he had the season-ending injury in week 4. After week 4 of the season, he only had 302 yards in 2017. Besides that, he's had 1,367, 1,450, and 1,305. So this idea that Odell Beckham Jr. is just this guy, this idea that this guy is even remotely comparable to Deshaun Jackson, is just a slap in the face. I mean, yeah, recency bias would show that, right now, Odell Bekham Jr. has played 13 games, and he barely has over 500 yards. However, I would also tell you that Baker is just not throwing to him. He's just not. You're telling me he had 34 targets this year in 6 games? Guys, he played 6 games at 34 targets. I mean, all right, here's a good one. Ready? Ready for this? So let's look at this, okay? How about one? Let's look at one thing, okay? Because this is the point, is that he is the number 1 receiver on the Browns. That is the point I'm trying to make. He had 34 targets in 6 games as the number 1 receiver. Do you know how many targets Van Jefferson has had as the number 3/4 receiver this season through 8 games? He's had 39 targets. Van Jefferson, as the 3rd or 4th string receiver for the majority of the season, has more targets than Odell Bekham Jr. does as the number 1 receiver on the Browns. And you want to tell me that it's because Odell Bekham Jr. is a cancer. I'm not saying catches, I'm saying targets. The targets show that he's not getting the opportunities that he should be getting as the number 1 receiver. I don't think that an OBJ signing would hinder Van Jefferson's development. No. What I do think is that I should probably address the fact that a few people donated. Appreciate you, AZZA. What's up? Hope you are doing well. Thank you for donating. Mark, thank you so much for donating. Tell the Rams to go sign Geno Atkins. Need depth for playoffs. That would be interesting. I like where they're at right now, though, so I don't think it's a super need, but maybe something to hold on to. Again, thanks so much for the donation. AZCA, thank you so much again for the donation. OBJ to Bucks, Pats, Chargers, or Rams. That would be interesting. I don't think the Bucks need him. They're getting Scotty Miller back. They also have Antonio Brown. They have Mike Evans, and of course they have Chris Godwin. So I think they're good. The Patriots, I love the fit if they're open to it, and if the Rams aren't. And then the Chargers, I like the fit as well. So good names there. And then Mark, thank you so much again, Mark. Yes, all of what you said, but first sign Geno Atkins. We need more depth. He would be amazing next to AD Floyd Miller. Keep in mind, though, I think they really like Greg Gaines. I think Greg Gaines they're cool with him. I think he's going to start the foreseeable future, and I'm happy for him. This is his opportunity. So, I don't think they need to go out and get anybody, but I wouldn't be, totally against Geno Atkins. I'm just, I don't think he's, All right. So yeah, that the idea, can you afford him? Well, it would take some salary cap stuff. You'd have to work your magic. You might be able to afford him by claiming him, but they would have to make some things happen in response. However, I think he would end up signing, if that were the case. He's already been paid. That's the thing, guys. He's already been paid. It's like the same deal. A guy signs a big time contract, and then all of a sudden, he takes a $1 million deal after getting cut. It's because he's already been paid all that money. He doesn't need more money on the season. He just needs a job. So yeah. SJD, I think, is a long-term IR situation. They might get him back for the playoffs, but we'll see. AZZA, thank you so much for donating. Atkins, AD, favorite player, and snacks are free. Again, interesting. I guess we'll see, what happens with Greg Gaines. I think they really are interested now to get an opportunity for Bobby Brown III now that, SJD will be out. It's Greg Gaines' turn. Rest up, SJD. I agree, Hilltop, and thank you so much for donating. Really do appreciate it. Let's see here. It wouldn't hurt because OBJ... because of Kupp's late season injury issues. Well, that's another thing, okay? So this idea that the Rams are fine as Ben Skoranek as their 4th, I mean, they probably are, but if you're going all in for it, if you just went out and got Von Miller, and you got, Matthew Stafford, and you got these guys to go in, all in, win now, that's what you said over and over and over again, it's win now, then why stop there? If Odell Beckham Jr. is available, press play. Go get him. Like, what, you know what I'm saying? So I just, and again, it goes back to what I was saying. Those guys, the big wigs of the Rams brass, the higher ups, they're not just meeting for no reason. Okay, Tony Pastors, we know, does all the contracts. He deals with all the the contracts, the books. Then you have the owner and you have Les Snead. That doesn't just happen for no reason. That happens when they have to figure something out. And likely they were talking with Tony Pastors to try to make things happen on the books to potentially facilitate an acquisition of Odell Bekham Jr. or another player that I don't know. But right now, it wouldn't hurt to add Odell to the number one offense in the league, to an offense that, yes, like you mentioned, Cooper Kupp's been hurt. Van Jefferson got hurt last week. Robert Woods has been hurt. He had the shoulder injury in 2017. Like, yeah, I just think at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt to have more depth. And I don't know if they do this if Tutu Atwell and, Deshaun Jackson are there. But Deshaun Jackson was released, his choice, potentially. And Tutu Atwell is done for the year. So, there's not a ton. And think about this. As much as I love Jacob Harris, I love the long-term, effects of him potentially. Jacob Harris is not ready, because if he was ready, he would have already played by now. He would have already gotten some snaps. He would have already gotten some targets, some throws. He has not gotten that, and we're through week 8. So he's not ready. They're not comfortable with him yet. And so for that reason, going out and getting Odell would make sense. Furthermore, when asked about it, Sean McVay just flat out said he wouldn't rule it out. He wouldn't, I think the quote was, never say never. He didn't come out and say, we're not interested in pursuing Odell Beckham. He didn't come out and say, nope, I don't think we'll go that route. Or, I don't think so, but who knows? He said, never say never. So who knows? I agree, AZZA, and thank you so much for donating again. Just really, really tough there. Exactly, Ashton. I think, again, it's the stigma around OBJ, and it's the fact, I just think a lot of people, it's the we not me culture, and I think a lot of people just to assume that OBJ won't fit that. But, let's go back to the drawing board, okay? Let's just go through it. Because a guy that was considered a cancer, and do not forget this, he was early on in his career. Brandon Cooks. Remember Brandon Cooks with the Saints? Remember in a blowout, he complained about not getting the ball and Michael Thomas got the ball and they blew it out of proportion. Remember that's why he was like he was traded. That's why he was gone. So they took a guy like that. I didn't really think he was that much of a cancer, but we're starting off there. What did he do with the Rams? No big deal. He had 1,000 yards. His fourth team, by the way, to have 1,000 at the time was his third team to have 1,000 yards in a season. On top of that, he was a valuable asset and probably would have had 1,000 if he didn't get concussed. So then they traded him. Okay. So who else? Let's see here. Guys that have had issues. Okay, Tyler Higbee. Wasn't he was arrested in the pre-draft process or whatever, or maybe a little bit after that. Remember, for fighting that guy who, something about his wife at a bar. Have you seen anything bad about him since? Has there been anything? Any off the field? Any in the locker room? Anything? No. Okay. Let's go through it. Offensive line, no, they're pretty much all clean there. Defensive line, yeah, I think they're pretty much all clean there. Linebackers all clean. What about Jalen Ramsey? Oh, that's right. All those people that were saying he was a diva and he was a cancer in Jacksonville. And this guy's recruiting people to join the Rams and has only been a team leader and he's a captain and he's one of the best players in football. That's interesting. What about Marcus Peters? Marcus Peters, right? The Marcus Peters that took the referee flag and threw it in the stands and got booted out of Kansas City, and people were demonizing him. Did he do one bad thing with the Rams? I mean, sure, his press conferences weren't very conventional, but that's not the point. How about this? Aqib Talib. Oh, Aqib Talib's dirty. He's taking people's chains and all. What did he do with the Rams? He didn't do anything with the Rams. He didn't do anything bad with the Rams. Is that interesting how that works? Took all of these. Oh, and Ndamukong Suh. Oh, the guy that steps on all the quarterbacks' heads. Headbutts people. Gets ejected. Just a horrible human. Not really, but you know, the stuff I heard. What did he do with the Rams? Nothing. They almost won a Super Bowl. Huh. Well, that's interesting. It's almost as if the Rams can take on any sort of issue, any sort of off-the-field issue, or any sort of, you know, any sort of distraction or a cancer, and it's not an issue. Did you happen to notice that? Because I did. So if you're trying to make this whole, well, you know, Odell Bekham Jr., he's such a bad human, all that. Yeah, Dante Fowler's another one. Odell Beckham Jr., he's such a bad teammate and he's a cancer and all of that. Okay, but even if he is, even if you're right, let me just humor you and say, yes, you're right, whatever. Have they not already gone through this before? Have they not shown that they're not afraid to take on talent that has any sort of baggage to it? Because they do this all the time and it works. I mean, you could even say Von Miller to a degree, because we don't know, you know, all that stuff, that the investigation that happened, off the field stuff, whatever, they're taking him on. I mean, it doesn't end. You know? It doesn't end. They don't care. Do you know why? One of the main reasons why the Rams are successful, because they draft talent, they go after talent, they're not afraid, they're not soft, they have a backbone, and they don't have any of that four pillars garbage. People make mistakes. I think a lot of the times is that, you know, we forget that a lot of these guys are, 21, 22, you know, 22-year-old kids. They make a mistake in college. Hopefully not the level of Henry Ruggs. But you make a mistake like that in college, not that magnitude, but say, you know, you're drinking, you have a whole Baker Mayfield incident, you're running away from a cop. That stuff happens in college. It doesn't happen to me, maybe not you, but it happens. It has happened before. Kids are stupid. So, you know, a long time ago, once upon a time, you had Billy Devaney as the GM. You had Steve Spagnuolo, and that, you know, that coaching staff, that brass, that were petrified of touching guys like that. It's why they never would have ended up with Janoris Jenkins, who, by the way, there's another one. There's another one right there, Janoris Jenkins. Les Snead. They got Janoris Jenkins. He didn't do anything. Nothing. Nothing was wrong with him. He had a rap sheet this long in college. There was nothing wrong with Janoris. Anyway, my point, okay? The Rams aren't afraid to acquire distractions or anything like that because they know they won't be distractions. Even Deshaun Jackson. Say what you will about Deshaun Jackson. We didn't hear one thing about him. He didn't sound off on Twitter. He didn't make an Instagram. He didn't do anything like that where it made it look like the team was bad or that, you know, his teammates were bad or that he was upset. He kept it in-house. Whether it was him or whether it was the GM or it was his agent that leaked the news that he was seeking a trade, that remains to be seen. Maybe we'll never see it. But the fact of the matter is this. He never came out and made a toxic comment, and he never disrupted the flow of the team. So that's about as simple as I can make that. Again, Deshaun Jackson didn't either. So if you're scared of OBJ coming to the Rams because of the fact he might disrupt the wide receivers, he might be a cancer, I would just say over and over again, one, find me the times OBJ has actually commented on what's happening. And two, find me the last time a player with off-the-field issues hurt the Rams in the locker room. Because I don't think you can find one. And if you use Todd Gurley, I don't even know if you can use Todd Gurley because I don't think that's entirely fair. But I'll give you Todd Gurley if you want to say he spoke up to the media, he wasn't as friendly anymore when things weren't going the right way, or when he called a high school offense, fine. But find me somebody during the McVay era, and I bet you can't. So, you know, yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, I just think at this point, though, you know, I'd use this as the example. You guys follow baseball. For those of you that don't, maybe you might understand this, maybe you won't. I'll try to explain it. I don't love baseball anymore. I used to. But a good example of this is with baseball, it started off, every team in the league had an ace. An ace was their best pitcher. An ace came out and shut them down, right? You could always rely on your ace. Your ace led your team in wins, ERA, whip, all of that, strikeouts. Your ace was your best pitcher. But you notice as time went on in the MLB, having an ace wasn't enough. And so over time, we had moves where, say the Yankees had Luis Severino, they went out and they acquired Garrett Cole. Or you look at the Dodgers, who go out and they get Max Scherzer. When they have Walker Buehler. They have, guys like that. Because over time, one was not enough. So how do I apply this to the NFL? I'll say this. Look at the Cardinals. Look at the Cardinals. Seriously, you had Hopkins. You went out and you signed AJ Green, who's still your starter, by the way. You drafted a receiver in the second round. And on top of that, you have other receivers as well. And, I mean, there was always this kind of thing, holding over your head whether or not Fitzgerald would be re-signed. The Rams as well. The Rams knew this. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, Deshaun Jackson they signed, and then they draft Tutu Atwell in the second round. They drafted Jacob Harris in the fourth round, who they have admitted is a wide receiver. So you're telling me they drafted two receivers on top of the fact that they signed Deshaun Jackson and had a trio of starting receivers. Now you take into account that Deshaun Jackson asked for his release and Tutu Atwell is out for the season, and you want to tell me you don't think the Rams are going to make a move? You don't think if if OBJ is available, they wouldn't do that? Or they shouldn't do that? A win now team? Come on now. I just think at the end of the day, people are going to feel how they do about Deshaun Jackson. Or not Deshaun Jackson, OBJ. I'm not going to tell you not to feel a certain way. But I'll just say at least, try to be a little understanding of the situation. Try to understand that, he's been pitted as the enemy here when, one, the Browns aren't that great of an organization. And two, the 1 year he was fully healthy and got targeted a fair amount, he had 1,000 yards and produced. Every other year, this year included, he's been targeted less than Van Jefferson. As the number 1 receiver in Cleveland, he's been targeted less than Van Jefferson, the number 3 receiver in LA. Just reminder. I haven't said it already, but guys, if you could, be sure to thumbs this video up, thumbs this live stream up, like it. I think that's, I don't know what verbiage to use. I guess, if you thumbs it up, that gets people's attention. But if you say like it also helps. I don't know. Also hit notification bell. Turn on all notifications. That way you know exactly when I'm streaming, when I'm putting out videos, what have you. Your phone, your computer, whatever will tell you when I'm doing it. You'll also get emails, I think, if you opted into that. So yeah, be sure, let's get this thing up past 100 at the very least. And then I have a little thing for you here. Actually, if you guys are trying to, potentially join, you might have already done this before, but I teamed up with Chancer to create my own game. It's a Rams fan challenge. And basically, if you get the most points on over the month, you get a chance to qualify for a gift card of Fanatics and get your own jersey. So I'm going to post that link in the comments section. And yeah, you can sign right up. You can play and get a jersey. Pretty awesome, honestly. So I have that I'm working with, as well as the Underdog Fantasy. So obviously I've showed you guys that before, but yeah, if you guys want to join, this is trying to see the thing. There we go. So that is the game. We have 24 people right now. Feel free to sign up. Yeah, Von Miller, that thumbs up. Yes, exactly. We're at 79 likes. Let's see if we can get that past 100 at the very least. Just be sure to hit the thumbs up button. I say likes, and I think everyone kind of... It's weird. For whatever reason, I don't think this streamed to Facebook. Either that or we're just dead on Facebook today. Not really much I could do. I hear you. I can't wait to watch number 40, man. People are hating on the 40 number. 40's dope. I might buy it just paying homage to... I'm going to... just paying homage to one of my favorite players. You know, Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch. I mean, just going through and, you know, learning the history. I mean, I basically taught myself the history of the Rams because I felt like I needed to. And... you know, just going back and looking at the history of Crazy Legs and Norm Van Brocklin and Bob Waterfield having that, first off, the greatest show on grass, which people already forgot about, the Bull Elephant Backfield, headlined by Deacon Dan Towler. And, you know, it's just incredible, man. You know, you don't realize it because, you know, the NFL doesn't really showcase, you know, they don't showcase the NFL championships, right? They don't really talk about the NFL championship teams. It's all about Super Bowls. But what we don't really talk about is the fact the Rams just had some unbelievable offensive players that honestly kind of go by the wayside. I mean, you know, Deacon Dan Towler is a top 5 running back in Rams history, arguably. I mean, he's right there with Todd Gurley, you know, honestly. And when you look at somebody like, say, you know, again, Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch, I mean, he had one of the greatest seasons. He had 1,700 yards in a 12-game season. And no one talks about it. 1,700 receiving yards in a 12-game season. I mean, I'll bring it up again. I brought it up before, but that, I mean, that's the type of thing that I'm talking about. You know, it's just, it's incredible. And you know, when people look at it and they're like, oh, it's, you know, it's back then. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Who was throwing the football in the 40s and 50s? I mean, you got to be kidding me. So, you know. Yeah, absolutely. One Funky Lions fan, 100%. I'm all pro, by the way, on that side. I'm pro NFL championships need to be counted. Whether you want to combine them with Super Bowls, what have you, they need to be counted. And, you know, and sorry, not 1,700 yards, but this was unheard of at the time. And there's some great receivers, right? Jim Benton for the Rams was the second ever receiver in NFL history to have 1,000-yard season. The first ever was Don Hudson in the 40s. So Benton isn't a Hall of Famer, by the way, with the Rams. Nope. But Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch was, and the 51 season when they won the championship was unbelievable because he caught 66 passes for 1,495 yards, averaging 22.7 yards per reception, 17 touchdowns. Okay? So this guy was legitimately like Deshaun Jackson in the fact that he's averaging 22.7 yards per reception. That was unbelievable. And it's just like, stuff like that just doesn't, we don't talk about that enough, you know? And so that's why, you know, to make a long story short, kind of wrapping this whole reason up why I brought him up is because I always wanted his jersey. And now I feel like since it was retired and it came out of retirement because his family gave Von Miller their blessing, I can get a Von Miller 40 jersey and still feel like I'm paying homage to one of my absolute favorite all-time players in Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch. Yes, before I get those comments, you never saw him play, you know, he's way before your time. Sure, but you can still appreciate what someone did back then, especially if you can still find, you know, video on it. And there's also a movie called Crazy Legs that you can find on YouTube. So it's kind of, you know, beyond, it's like a biopic that he stars in. It was really ahead of its time. I highly recommend it. I like the movie. But yeah, I just, you know, felt like I'd mention that and why, you know, the number 40, while some people are calling it ugly, I think it's really cool. And furthermore, you know, Von Miller knowing where 40 came from, understanding that it was, you know, it was retired, and then going to the family and asking for their blessing to wear it just speaks volumes to me. It speaks volumes in the fact that, you know, really at the end of the day, Von Miller coming to this team understands what it means to be an LA Ram. He understands what it means to be a part of this organization. He knows the history, and that's the thing that's so damn precious about him coming to the Rams. It's not just what he's going to do on the field. It's the fact that he truly feels blessed to be with the organization. He's calling him a legendary organization. You could call it kissing ass. I call it genuine. And when you see him talking about, you know, talking about what the fearsome foursome meant, and you know, talking about, you know, number 40 and what that means, he gets it. And there's not a lot of guys that get it. There are guys that collect a paycheck, they come in, they play, they work hard, it's done, right? Von loves this sport. You can tell. Von has another level of appreciation for the job that he has and for organizational history. And that's what I love about Von Miller. And he further exemplified that when he was discussing it, you know, about why he loved being with the Rams so much. So I got to give him a lot of props. I cannot wait to see him. God, keep him healthy, football gods, please, because what we could see this year, I understand he didn't start the season with the Rams, but the Rams can finish massively tough to start the season, massively strong to end the season. I think this is something that, you know, there's nothing really to compare it to. I think the closest thing is Robert Quinn, the year he had 17 or whatever sacks. But that, I mean, the Rams haven't had an edge presence like Von Miller. So, you know, besides Quinn. So, I mean, it's really, it's going to be really something. I can't wait for it, you know? But, yeah, let's see. I'm annoyed that we have to wait until Monday to find out if OBJ gets claimed or not. I mean, if he doesn't get claimed, then I 100% think he goes straight to the Rams. But even if he does, I think he's going to force his way to the Rams. And again, I just say over and over and over again, okay? Deshaun Jackson, I'm not trying to hate on him. I like him, to be honest with you, going back to his days with the Eagles. I liked watching him. I was a little ticked at the way he left, but I don't think he did it in a really disgusting manner. He could have come out and been really toxic about it. He could have hurt his team. Instead, he kind of took himself away from the problem. He said, I just want to leave. I want to have an opportunity, whatever. Fine. I mean, I disagree with it wholeheartedly. I really do. But I get it to an extent. I understand, okay, that's how you feel. Fine. And you handled it better than other players have. OBJ hasn't said one damn word about this situation. He's done everything that the Browns could ask for as far as not being that cancer, not coming out and just trashing his quarterback like some receivers have done in the past. And this is how he was treated. So I really, at the end of the day, I really do feel like OBJ is the right move for the Rams. And if they don't get OBJ, I mean, there's an opportunity. You know, they could sign a guy like John Brown, you know, to take the top off the defense. You know, I know some of you guys have mentioned, you know, the guy that played for the Lions last year, whose name is escaping me, you know, the smaller receiver that can really stretch the field as well. But, you know, there are guys out there. I just don't think you don't get every sort of opportunity to pick up, you know, a guy the caliber of OBJ as your fourth option. So I think it would really help them. And, you know, for you guys that are like, I don't know, they're pretty fine. It's all fun and games until a Cooper Kupp, a Robert Woods, or a Van Jefferson goes down. And if that's the case, then all of a sudden your love for Ben Skoranek and your love for whoever's behind him, it's going to go down the tubes very quickly. Because I can tell you right now, if one of those guys went down and you had Odell Bekham Jr., you'd still hate that they got hurt, but you'd be like, oh, at least we got Odell Beckham Jr. Can you imagine if we didn't pick him up? But then if they went down and you're looking at Ben Skoranek, you could be like, I like Ben. I hope Ben will be good, but I don't know if I can trust Ben to take over for what Cooper Kupp is doing, because Cooper Kupp means that much to the offense. By the way, right now, if anybody goes down, the backups are Ben Skoranek, a 7th-round pick this season, so he's a rookie. So you're putting a lot of pressure on a rookie, 7th-round pick Ben Skoranek, and a UDFA, his second year in the league, UDFA out of Cal Poly. And, you know, to me, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like him to a degree, but I don't think J.J. Koski is, you know, I don't think he needs to be in that role. I think they would like another guy. And so I do think OBJ would fill that. Chantry asks, why do you think OBJ would want to sign with us? Just asking. To win a Super Bowl. To kind of show, first off, everyone wants to play for Sean McVay. Von Miller mentioned that. To play with Matthew Stafford, the best quarterback, in my opinion, that OBJ would have played with, because he's astronomically better than Baker Mayfield, and I'd say he's better than Eli. The offense, when you really think about it, because, the offense, right now they're number 1 in DVOA. The offense is great, gives him an opportunity. There's a lot of reasons. Again, being around Sean McVay, Stafford, the offense, having a chance to win a Super Bowl, being around guys like Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Jalen Ramsey. There's a lot of reasons. And just going to L.A. I mean, he loves L.A. I think he lives in L.A. So, I think there's a lot of reasons why. Plus, he's expressed interest before. I think at the end of the day, it makes a lot of sense for both parties. Makes even more sense for OBJ, if you want to be honest. I think it makes more sense for Odell Beckham Jr. to be a Ram than the Rams to make Odell Beckham Jr. a Ram. But it makes enough sense for the Rams to consider it, So, Jake, how do you feel about people who claim Coop is the one carrying the Rams offense? Seen a few people say that this year, despite Kupp not even being responsible for 30% of the Rams offensive yards. Well, that's ridiculous. Cooper Kupp is awesome, right? But Cooper Kupp isn't that much better than everyone else on the field. Cooper Kupp is being the one that he is basically led wide open. And it's hard. Like, are you going to fault Matthew Stafford for throwing to a guy that's wide open that he feels comfortable with? That's the thing. We can't act like Cooper Kupp is astronomically better than Robert Woods. They're pretty much on the same tier. What you're seeing is Cooper Kupp is ascending based on the target share. He's getting way more targets than Robert Woods. They both do incredible things after the catch. They both were second. They both were tied for first in the league, and they had more than anybody. That duo had more than anybody yards after the catch besides Devontae Adams. So, I just think at the end of the day, if you're going to sit here, not you personally, Scott, but if anybody's going to sit here and try to say that Cooper Kupp is guiding the offense or he's carrying the offense, then they don't understand that. Van Jefferson's on pace for over 800 yards as the third option, and at times wasn't even the fourth option. He's had games where he was barely visible and he still is on pace for almost 800 plus yards. And then you look at, Robert Woods, who's on pace for almost 1,000 yards, and then Kupp, he's on pace for almost 2,000 yards. But that is the disparity between how much these guys are being targeted. And so again, Matthew Stafford right now leads the league in just about every statistical category for a quarterback. He's more so probably the reason. I think a big thing, like with PFF and why he hasn't been ranked high, is because it's the degree, it's the difficulty level of his throws. They're saying he doesn't throw. Basically his job isn't super difficult. Things are there for him, whatever. And you could say, Sean McVay makes the job easier for a quarterback. But the idea that, Matthew Stafford isn't making, hard throws or, I just don't really agree with. So, that's the thing there. I wouldn't call him the 12th quarterback in the league. Right now, he's the MVP. I don't think that there's anybody close. Kyler got hurt. Brady lost the second game. Brady lost head-to-head to Stafford. There's not a guy right now, there's just not a guy right now that's better than Stafford right now as far as MVP. I can't think of anybody that would be better right now. Who would be the MVP right now over Matthew Stafford? I don't think, by the way, Kyler, I don't think is going to miss any time. Yeah, Mike White. Niners fan for life is Ben on the Discord, which, by the way, you all should sign up for. It's free. We're at 97 likes. Let's get this thing up. Thumbs it up, baby. Get to 100. We're 3 away. What's up, Ben? Yes, keep liking the video. I mean, don't keep liking it because then you'll unlike it. But, you know. Oh, there's 107 likes. Love to see that. Maybe we can get to 200. Who knows? I'm going to put the Discord link. Let's see here. We got 357 people. I would love if we got 400 people. So that would be, I'm bad at math. That would be 43. Yeah. If we could get 43 signups right now, I'd be very happy. Hit that link, sign up for the Discord. It is free. I don't charge a dime. I don't have none of that. It is free for anyone. Yeah, I do too, Ben. Thank you. But it's not just the Rams' success; it's the fan base. It's you guys. You know, there are days where I get really annoyed with social media, but I feel like this. I'll always say this, okay? I may love Twitter. I may hate Twitter. I may love Instagram. I may hate Instagram. I may love Facebook. I may hate Facebook. But at the end of the day, I never have any sort of negativity towards YouTube. I just feel like we have, and maybe I'm super biased about this, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. I think we have the least toxic community in, like, right now as far as like sports is concerned. I mean, I feel like this is the least toxic I've ever seen sports fans. They all come together. And look, this may be predominantly Rams fans. This may be predominantly a Rams channel. However, everyone seems to be pretty nice towards Lions fans that come in. You have Bills fans. You have that one Colts fan, Dabney, Offermean, that is always in here. You guys are so nice to those people. And that is the thing. I can't stress enough. I'm not about to be a Keemstar or anybody like that. I want just everyone to treat everyone the right way. The golden rule, treat everyone how you want to be treated. So I feel great about this community because I feel like everyone does that. You know what I'm saying? Jake, I like the more consistent streams. It seems like you enjoy it. Keep it up, bro. Thank you so much. I'm tried to do a stream last night, and I kind of realized I got a little busy doing some stuff. I just trying to get another job, so there's that. So yeah, I mean, it's been a lot, but you know, really do appreciate you all being here though. This is cool. It's a bummer that Facebook for whatever reason didn't. And I'm guaranteeing you guys, I'm liked on Facebook enough to not have 0 people the entire time. So this definitely for whatever reason did not get posted to Facebook. What's up, Will? Let's keep the likes and thumbs up and subs. Please subscribe if you like this. I was like, who is Sparky? I just, for whatever reason, wasn't seeing any of Sparky's posts. Appreciate you being in here, Sparky. Not an OBJ fan, I take it. I love the YouTube family. You know what the YouTube family's all about? Bro, I could talk about the Rams. I could talk about the MCU. I could talk about horror. I can literally go live and stream myself playing Resident Evil, lose my voice, and I'm never judged for it. You know? That's a great thing. And then on top of that, no one else is judging anyone for it. Someone asked me a horror question on a Rams video. I'm going to answer it because I'm trying to answer questions. I'm trying to be open, and I don't get any sort of blowback about doing that. Happened the other day. When someone was like, hey, you know, are you going to see Eternals? What do you think about Eternals? Is it going to be any good? And I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to be pretty good. By the way, I saw Eternals. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. So for those of you that are wondering, my thoughts on Eternals, good. Losing my voice. Good, not great. I ranked it the 20th out of 26 MCU movies. So there's that. Swaggy C, the Discord link has been posted. I'm going to post it again. People hating on the Rams with shots at Kupp. They want to talk about the Cowboys, but every year Dallas goes nowhere. So Jones is still sick, but I believe he will be good for Sunday. Jake, let's send my sympathy to Ryan Tannehill for the upcoming infliction of pain. Oof. Look at this, Jake. Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, Jalen, Leonard Floyd, Von Jefferson, Odell Beckham. Wow. Yeah, I mean, the hope is that they'll get Odell. I think it's going to happen. I've been wrong before, though. So, you know, we'll see. But I feel pretty good about it. Yeah, right, Nolan? Yeah, because, you know, Feige's definitely been in my streams before. No, I really like the casting. I thought the visuals were great. It's a lot. I don't know if it had to be as long as it was. It was 2 hours and 35 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I like it, but I don't think it was great. I don't get the hate, though. I don't get why people thought it was horrible, because I don't think it was horrible, and I don't think it's the worst MCU movie, and I definitely don't think you should skip it. But it is good, not great. Whereas MCU movies you assume are great, not good. Yeah, the duration, it's a long movie. I wouldn't limit Vaughn. If he's ready to go, if he's medically cleared, yeah, I'm not limiting Vaughn. Paul, the Lakers will be fine. You know, LeBron was out. They still almost won against the Thunder. You know, the Thunder, they're not a great team. I get it. But, you know, LeBron wasn't playing and they still almost won. So, you know, there's that. Let's see. Here's a stat for you. Stafford is top 2 in QBR versus both man and zone coverage, while no other quarterback in the league is top 7 versus both. Wow, that is something. Just add it to the bevy of things that would lead me to believe that Matthew Stafford right now is playing the best football of any quarterback in the league. I read on Twitter that Saints, Seahawks, and Niners were OBJ's team of choice. Any truth to this? That I don't know. I know it's Florio, so, I mean, Florio would never even admit it if the Rams were a favorite of OBJ's. Look at the Packers games. They've been close against okay opponents, but what they did last year was scary. How much cap do the Rams have? I think right now they currently have $3.3 million. And Jake, what do you think of Jack Eichel to the Knights? I love Jack Eichel. Just want to add some clarity on that. People might leave. I'm not trying. It's not going to be a long segment, but just to make this abundantly clear, Jack Eichel isn't a diva for wanting to leave Buffalo. He was actually going to stay in Buffalo and probably would have signed a long-term deal. The reason he left Buffalo, it's very simple. He left Buffalo because they were trying to force him to get this, you know, this fusion this fusion operation done so he could play, essentially kicking the can down the road for future problems with his body and his injury. Instead, they wouldn't let him get that surgery, and now he's allowed to get the surgery, and he's with Vegas, and things are good. He might come back by the end of the season. That is why Jack Eichel left or wanted to leave Buffalo. It's why he was stripped of his captainhood. It's why he didn't play. They wanted him to take an easier type of, medical operation to get him back quicker and not actually caring about his well-being long-term. I thought it was incredibly irresponsible by the organization, and I think Jack Eichel, who is being dragged for it, shouldn't be dragged for it. So I'm glad he's with my team. I'm glad he's in Vegas, and that's pretty much all I can really say on that. But that is my thoughts on that. Let's see. I'm trying to answer all questions now. So, trying my best to get to all of you. The duration was crazy. It was a long movie. Why haven't the Browns officially released OBJ yet? He hasn't hit the official waiver wire yet. Because it was up at 4 p.m. and they didn't release him today. So, yeah, it's going to be Monday. Everyone talking about Rodgers right now. Yeah, that whole thing, I'm not going to get really into it. I don't know where the hate came from all of a sudden. I know, right? Let's see. OBJ to LA. That's the hope. Shouldn't have lost against the Thunder. Yeah, it's not the best. If we get Odell and don't get a Super Bowl, that would be a long off season. The only smoke we see, dog, is coming out of your ears. Yeah, the Bash injury really sucks. I hate it. I hate it for him. Thought people didn't care about our Rotten Tomatoes critic scores until it's MCU. Yeah, it's funny with Rotten Tomatoes. They gave it such a bad review, and I think it really did detour people from actually enjoying the film. Like, everyone's so critical about Eternals now, but I don't think it wasn't bad. It was good. It wasn't amazing. Jake, what will it take to get Odell to the Rams? Because everyone wants Odell. Well, I think he's going to force his way to the Rams. So I think even if he gets claimed, I think he's going to basically not play and ask for his release and do this until he ends up with the Rams. That's what I think. But if he doesn't get claimed, then I think the Rams will sign him. Okay. Let's see. Thoughts on the new Morbius trailer, Jared Leto? I thought it looked good. Definitely looked good. I'm not a huge Michael Morbius fan. I mean, I don't dislike him. But I'm not like, I don't know if he needed his own movie. But I thought it looked good. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Jake, well, okay, I saw that. Florio is a hater. He is. Jake, I was at the gym. What do you think the odds are that Odell clears waivers? So Odell, it'll take about $7.25 million in cap for this season to pay him and, claim him. So I don't know how that works. I think if you claim him, you have 24 hours to make a corresponding move, but I don't know for sure. So I'm going to put the odds that he clears waivers at about 30%. I really do feel like he's going to get claimed by the Lions, but I think the Rams are going to be able, or he's going to be able to force his way to the Rams if they want him. That's what I think, but that's what I'll say about that. Odell is washed as heck. Not really. If you really think about it. So so hear me out when I say this. Okay. Odell has 5,000 yard seasons. He had a 1,000-yard season in 2019. He suffered a season-ending injury in 2020, and then he basically didn't get thrown to this year, and he missed a game or two, and now he's not on the Browns anymore. In these back-to-back seasons, he's had 43 targets and 34 targets. He has fewer targets than Van Jefferson had. Van Jefferson is the third receiver on the Rams. He's the number one receiver in Cleveland, and Jarvis Landry was hurt. So that's really not a good sign. And that's not Odell. That's the fact at the end of the day, they just they weren't given the opportunity, and not they, but Baker Mayfield wasn't. Let's see. I'm trying to find. Okay, Browns are restructuring. OBJ's contract at $2 million. Rams should have enough cap space to get him. Well, then it'll be easier for him to go through waivers. I don't know. I don't know if they're doing that because they would have to. I would say, Logan, that it's way too early on to be worried about the Lakers, and they're not fully healthy. Blade was yeah, I think so, but there's no way for us to know for sure, but I do think that was the case. Any word on Cam coming back? I mean, all I know is that he's expected to play in the playoffs. That's about it. It's good, yeah. It is good. Eternals. Rotten Tomatoes is garbage. You can buy a good review or a bad one. If you think Odell is washed, just check out the video his dad made. Subscribe. Thank you, C. Quintana. Appreciate you. Jake, what that Les Snead and Sean McVay are the two best? I mean, I think that they're definitely top two. What's up, pineapples? I think we'll be wrapping this up soon. It's getting to be that time, you know how it is. But man, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I believe that Odell Bekham Jr. Makes a lot of sense for the LA Rams. I think the Rams make a lot of sense for Odell Bekham Jr. Also, I really would like it if those of you who have not already joined the Discord, which I just dropped the link there. I'm curious to see how many people have joined since. Probably not a ton. Oh, hold on a second. We got, looks like a few people joined. 1, 2, 3. We got to get 43 people, though. Oh, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep it coming, guys. Join the Discord. Join it. It's another way to get access as soon as I drop a video or something. It'll just show up right in the Discord. So that's a way. But on top of it, you get just nonstop, like, great discussion with a bunch of Rams fans, MCU fans, horror fans, all sorts of like sub channels in my server. Yeah, it's definitely something that you would enjoy. Oh, we got another one. Keep it coming. We got 361. So we are 39 away. Apparently, Damon Arnett is threatening to kill somebody. That's not good. Jake, do you think the Rams are going to trade up for a second rounder in the draft or just stock up? I don't think pineapples that they're going to be trading up for anybody anytime soon. Have a great weekend, Mark. Thanks for stopping by. I get that, but OBJ was justified. He really was. He didn't get the ball enough, and I mean, it's clearly Baker just wasn't. It's not that he was doing it on purpose, but he wasn't comfortable enough to get him the football. I got the Niners winning. I don't know by what score, but Kittle's back. I think he has a huge game. Matthew, thank you so much for donating. What's up with you? I'm going to miss SJD as well. Excited for Greg Gaines, hurt for SJD. I think, Double G is going to have himself, a good rest of this season. I think he's a damn good football player. He's a guy that, you draft in the 4th round and you're like, okay, he's good enough to start. But if he's not starting, he's a damn good piece of depth, and that's what they've had. Now he's going to have an opportunity to start because it's the next man up league. So I'm excited to see him play. Sack prediction, I think they get to Tannehill 5 times. But keep in mind, I do think the Titans are going to have a game plan coming out. I think you're going to see a lot about Jeremy McNichols, the former running back out of Boise State. They're going to use him pass catching out of the backfield, dump off. I think that's going to be their game plan. I think they're going to try to take advantage of this bend don't break, and I think they're going to try to neutralize the pass rush by simply getting rid of the ball quicker. And we've seen that. We've seen Derek Carr do that. We've seen Baker Mayfield do that. I mean, teams have done that. The Rams have had a fierce pass rush, and now everyone knows that they're a force to be reckoned with Von Miller. So something to keep in mind there. But yeah, so that's gonna be crazy. I like Gaines starting, but I don't trust the rookie to sub in for him. Mark, thank you so much for donating. Really do appreciate you there. But no, I hear you there. I think that we'll find out about that. I mean, I like Bobby Brown the third, but I can't sit here and say without a shadow of a doubt if he's ready to start. He hasn't played really at all this year, so we'll see if he has to step up. Then he's got to make that. He's gonna step up. I think it's that simple. But there's no way to know until it happens. Final questions, guys, and I think we're going to wrap this stream up. We might go live later, gaming, do some gaming of some sort. Maybe play Resident Evil since that movie's coming out at the end of the month, or we'll pick up where we left off in Batman Arkham Knight. Looks like Von Miller's going to play this weekend. I'd be shocked if he didn't. Yeah, it's Monday Night Football against the 49ers next week. So this week it's Sunday night, and then Monday night is next week. Yeah, I like Arkham Knight. It's not my favorite game I've ever played, but it was fun. Yeah, I guess there's no way for us to know that, Ashton. All right, well, what? You said wait. I'm going to say he gets 1.5 sacks. Arkham City was the best. You're absolutely right. That's going to do it for me, guys. I love all of you. You guys be good people. I will see you guys probably Sunday. Right? Maybe before the game, but I'm going to see you after it for sure. So enjoy your weekend. We'll talk soon. Later.